twisted boys make broken men. I believe that when the inner boy is twisted and broken out of shape, he will bleed on the platform of the man. I believe that unhealed boys often become unsafe men. It's imperative that we as men go through a healing journey to literally confront the masculine scripts that we have. As a therapist, as a counselor, as a bishop, I've realized that there are many toxic masculine scripts that we inherit from life. And these literally begin to work against us. We have lexicons in the days that we live in now that are referred to as toxic masculinity. And I walk slowly on that term because the whole environmental factor that we have is toxic to masculinity itself. Before we even talk about toxic masculinity, I've realized that the world is phasing out men. The world is making it very difficult for a man to exist. The parasitic elite are doing all they can to make men useless. In the life of a woman, useless in the life of people, useless in the life of children. There is a COVID attack on masculinity. There is the saga of the persecuted penis. I'm speaking and I want to teach to restore the scrotum because masculinity is dying. Mayday, mayday. We are a generation under a curse. Men don't know how to be men again. When you ask the modern person today, what is a man? They will say he's a provider, he's a teacher, he's a leader. All these 5 pillars that are lexiconic, they are brilliant. But that does not define a man. Being a provider, being a teacher, being a protector, being a leader. Yes, a man must do that, but that's not the definition of a man. A man is a creator. A man is a standard. A man is foundation. A man is the unseen part of a building that keeps the building standing. We no longer know how to define manhood. We define job descriptions of what a man should be doing, and we substitute descriptions with definitions. In the void of us not being able to define what a man is, we create a quagmire, we create quacks, we create men that have the form of manhood, the form of masculinity, but they don't have the function. Our generation has males stuck in transition. Manhood and maleness are not the same. Being a male is having the gender properties that may make you have the image of a man, but not the function of a man. Rites of passage, I believe, are very needed for manhood in the times that we live in, because we have a lot of men that are now using strength and power. And that word power, again, is a construct that many of us don't understand. In the equation of manhood, when you ask me what is a man, if you remove power from the equation of defining a man, you have a male. That is why when you go back to the history of slave trade, you realize that in order for the white master to control the family, they had to break the man in front of his children, and his wife, so that when a man is broken before his family, he will never rise in the office of a man, because manhood is an office. I want to say that again. Being a man is not just gender. It's not a status. It's an office given by the Almighty to represent him on his behalf. You define what fatherhood is to your children. And many boys cannot define, or girls cannot understand God as a father, because their own dynamics with their own earthly fathers is broken. And when that broken relationship with your father is broken, it becomes very difficult for you to connect with your father. I want to talk about this because I realize that there is a manhood crisis. There is a deficiency of real men in the times that we live in. Yes, your father was there. Maybe your father was not there, an absent father, a visiting father, an invisible father. I want you to know that if you do not feel the script of what a father, what a man is to you, you will bleed on people that did not cut you. I'm defining manhood versus maleness. We have too many males. We have a deficiency of manhood. This is a clarion call. As I'm about to begin heavy teachings on this Rated R channel, I want you to subscribe. Press that subscribe button, because we are coming in here and we are going to have an involution, an explosion in different teachings. And today I'm just talking about manhood. Manhood. It's not the size of your penis that makes you a man. It's not how much you can make a woman enjoy a sexual encounter that makes you a man. There are men that want to prove manhood by sex. Sex lasts for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, in 24 hours. If you can only ask for 10 minutes in 24 hours for you to show a woman that you're a man because of your sexual escapade or how well you can have sex with a woman, then you've got a perforated perception, a perforated definition of what manhood is. It's a sexualized objectifying. That's a little boy trapped in a man's body. We have a lot of 70-year-old baby boys trapped in adult bodies, the body becoming a prison to a wounded boy. And I want to say this, the fantasies of your inner child will always become the nightmares of your adult. If you've got undealt childhood needs, if you've got a father hunger, if you've got a father wound, then you cannot be a man. You will never be truly a man if you do not look at the mirror of another man and saw an image reflecting of where you're going. If you have never had the opportunity to have a man and sit in the frequency and the vibration of man, you are bleeding in strange places and you are muscular. You've got a manhood deficiency. Your manhood is in deficiency realms and you need to do yourself a favor. Some of us have got wrong scripts of fathers. The father that was there was a tarnished script. Some of us are led by a ferocious fear not to be like our father, not to literally do like I read in Things Fall Apart. The guy Okonko had a nebulous fear of being like his father. He did not want to be his father. He called his father a weak man. There are men in our times who feel that their fathers were weak, who feel that their fathers are wrong scripts. Can I tell you, whether your father was there or was never there, he gave you a script. And that script determines your manhood. And every woman under the sound of my voice, I want you to understand that your relationships with men are reflective of what you got from your father or did not get from your father. A woman's relationship with the father is the first romantic, non-sexual relationship she'll ever have. Your relationship, madam, with your dad is the first romantic, non-sexual affair you'll ever have. You'll get to learn how to seduce your father without using or crossing the panty line. You use the furniture of femininity to seduce your father, your brothers, and you are fine in being a feminine feature without sexualizing the whole relationship. Many of us don't know how to do that as women because we were denied of an opportunity to have a romantic affair with dad that had nothing to do with sex, sexuality, and sensuality. But it was role-playing seduction without sex. This is the void of manhood. Manhood is a need in our times. Back-broken men, bleeding men, leaders bleeding on their posts is all vindictive, indicative of a man. When it comes to abuse, many men that are abusive are angry little boys trapped in the cave of them. I want to say that abuse is a choice. When I talk about abuse is a choice. We're writing that. Please, you'll see that in my thing. Abuse is a choice and also has a root. I'm giving a PowerPoint there. Abuse is a choice, but it has a root. No man just snaps. No man just becomes an abusive man. No man just has misogynistic frequency. Violence is never random. I want to catch. Violence is never random. It's patterned. It is conditioned. It often has a final language and a fine language and a final language. It is a language that a man learns through surviving life, surviving grief, and by not owning their pain and dealing with their dysfunctional childhood, they bleed on strange platforms. They bleed in places they should not bleed in. Many men, I want to say, what is violence? Many men who use physical violence against women, they carry deep roots of unresolved trauma from childhood. I can guarantee you. And every man who beats a woman does not deserve to have a woman in his life. Say slowly, Bish. Any man who beats and lays hand on a woman does not deserve a woman in his life. And the man who beats a woman is reflective of how he feels about himself. If you want to see and if you want to know how a person feels about themselves, look at the quality of people that they date. Your relational history is a template of your internal feelings. If you want to see how a person feels about themselves, look at the person they date. They are a picture. They are a picture. They are literally a picture of how they feel about themselves. And I want to say this, many abusive men were once boys. And what type of boys were they? I'm glad you asked me the question. They were boys that were beaten and they were told it was love. They are boys that witnessed abuse in silence, and they were conditioned to see women as objects, not image bearers. They believe that control equals safety, and they grew up equating emotional intimacy for weaknesses. Twisted boys make broken men. Every single dysfunctional man that you see is a twisted boy that made a broken man. And when the man does not heal the boy, he's a nightmare in the life of any woman he'll meet. I've seen this. Most men that don't like women have issues with their mother. If you have a problem with women, it's a broken script with your mother. Articulated or passive. It correlates. There is no man who hates women who loves his mother. And sometimes he will respect the mom and penalize other daughters for internally hidden feelings of his mother. Things he saw his mother could do. You see, there's nothing as damaging psychologically as a man who sees his mother make love to another man, having a boyfriend, another man, and you're squatting in the bedroom and you hear another boyfriend of your mother making your mother sexually grown in the other room. It will mentally damage you, to perforate you. Twisted boys make broken men. Many men who are physically violent towards their partners are unloved boys in grown-up bodies. Twisted boys make broken men. They are carrying decades of silent despair, and they are screaming as loud as they can, but nobody can catch their frequency. I think that the greatest tragedy of our times that we have now is that our generation is not conditioned to catch the masculine cry or the frequency of a man crying. When a man does something wrong, we put them into juvenile prisons, we put them into prisons and prisons, we give them 25-year-old sentence. That does not help them, that just incubates them in an isolated place. Our generation is suffering now because nobody is trained and conditioned to catch the frequency of a masculine cry. If you look at it, men are crying. A man that is beating his wife does not deserve a wife, but there's a little boy crying. I want to say this, if you are going to swim with the sharks, don't bleed. The world that we live in is a horrible world. I'm talking about twisted boys make broken men. Many men who are physically violent towards their partners have a hole in the heart where love should have been. Twisted boys make broken men. Silent fathers, muted sons, the silence of the lambs. I tell you that every behavior has a foundation, has a root. Broken men and abusive men tend to believe that love is not real. They don't believe love is not real because they can't give what they did not get. That is the lie that is often born from a conditioned childhood, that love is not real. Where love was conditional was the place that they grew up in. Love came with bruises. Love walked away. Love was never safe, or love was never even named. Twisted boys make broken men. If you are a broken guy, you have got to pick up the pieces like Humpty Dumpty that sat on a wall. All the king's men could not put him back together. All the noblemen, it's not a job for noblemen. It's not a job for kings, for fools. This is a job for kings. Call the king himself, and that's your father. If you've got a broken relationship with your father, you will bleed everywhere. A father is a reference point to a boy. I've heard the talks in our times of father halls, father hoons, needing fathers. 1 in 4 homes have no father. Men have gone. Incarcerated manhood, captured manhood, isolated manhood. I understand that. Talking is cheap. Do you know why therapy does not work for men? Because we go there and we talk and no engagement. Silence is the dimension by which we process. Talking is the dimension by which women process. One of the most dangerous beliefs that you can ever have as a man is that love is not real. Love is a masculine frequency. Love is a masculine language. It is a dangerous belief to say love does not exist or love is not real. It's a dangerous For the man who has never taught the truth about love, violence becomes the illusion of strength. Twisted boys make broken men, and silence often becomes the illusion of safety. They don't talk, muted, ducted, stolen childhood moments, a quiet man, a perforated little boy. The imbalance of these two polarities, of the infant and the adult contending for platform in your life, is the cause for broken homes, is the cause for broken ribs, is the cause for blue eyes, is the cause for a relational pattern of broken women in the hands of a broken boy trapped in the body of a real man. Twisted boys make broken men. Hear me and hear me well. Unhealed boys become unsafe men. I am talking tonight, and I would love for you to subscribe to our button. They like. I want us to reach up high levels. We are back. We are just fixing. Now, I said unhealed boys, they become unsafe men, and that boy still lives within many men today. There are many men, many of the women watching me now are married to these unhealed boys that have become unsafe men. An unsafe man is an unhealed boy. Inside, the inner psychic age of an unsafe man is a broken boy, and who are starved for love and is covered in rage and heavily terrified of vulnerability. When a boy is not taught how to name his pain, when a man is taught not how to name his pain, pain eventually becomes a language. And I always say that language is location. And often the language is aggression, domination, silence, or violence. That becomes the language of an unsafe boy who never healed. Abuse is not just about anger. I want to say this again. Twisted boys make broken men. Abuse is not about anger. It's about control. You never had it when you were growing up. It was taken from you. So abuse is not about anger. It's about control. It is the deliberate use of intimidation, threats, and physical harm to dominate another. Twisted boys make broken men. You cannot change what you don't confront. You can never conquer what you don't confront. This is a clarion call. If you are a man suffering with rage, inner feelings, I always tell people that all of us play with toys. Men play with toys all their lives. They just get expensive as we grow. What toys do you play with? The premise of addiction is when you start playing with something, but when you're addicted, you become the thing that the thing plays with. What do you do when the thing that you were playing with now becomes your master? When your toy is now toying you, when you can't control the cocaine, you can't control the addiction, you can't control online escorts, you can't control. I don't know what toys you play with, but as a man, you've got to evaluate. All men play with toys, whether gadgets, cars, women. What toys do you play with? Because twisted boys make broken men. Now, the man who physically hurts his partner, when I get back to abuse, the man who physically abuses his partner is a man who feels small on the inside, but he puffs himself up on the outside. You are really small on the inside. You puff yourself up on the outside through rage to avoid being seen as weak. What he never heals from, he now harms with. What he never heals from, he now harms with. Twisted boys make broken men. This is a clarion call. One of the things why we started this Rated R channel was to literally create a platform of virtual healing. I'm Rated R because I say that we are raw, we are real, and we are relevant. I don't sugarcoat. I'm not a candy man, and I'm not a perfect individual. But I present a platform, and this is a series for men. We are coming for women. This is a series for men. Twisted boys make broken men. The unseen layer of the inner boy in a man. The unseen boy. Every abusive man has a boy inside of him, And that boy was told, men don't cry. That boy was told, suck it up. I like to call that the man box. That boy could have been touched too early. That boy could have not been held enough. That boy could not have been spoken, well done. I'm talking about that inner boy that was never attended to, the unmet childhood need. He was laughed at when he cried. I'm talking about that inner boy. He was never told that is worth protecting. That inner boy. He walks in the room. I'm talking about the man. It could be the husband that you're dating. It could be you, sir. Listen to me now. He walks like he owns the room. When he walks in the room, he walks in like he owns the room. His voice fills the room with sharpness. His eyes scan for control. Twisted boys make broken men. Beneath the posture, beneath the facade of power, he's brittle. He's soft, he's small. The outside is an act to protect the inner vulnerability. Cracked, fragile, unanchored soul within the little boy is hidden by the machoism of expressing on the outside. I always say, every Superman has his kryptonite. Every superhero has a weakness. His core is not strong. I'm talking about the Puffy Man. It is shattered glass beyond repair. Twisted boys make broken men. What you see on the outside is not masculinity. It's a costume for survival. Twisted boys make broken men. It's important that you feel in the emotional jars of your son, of your daughter early. I like to put it this way. When a child grows up, he has two emotional jars that need to be filled. If these two emotional jars are not filled, they will try and draw out the substance they didn't get from these jars from wrong relationships. There is a jar called dad, and there's a jar called mom, and they all pour into you as a child growing up. You need to be filled in with the emotional jar from father, emotional jar from mom. And when these fill you up, cross-gender parenting dynamics, when these fill you up, you balance yourself emotionally. When we talk about a child, a man that has unmet childhood needs, it means one of these jars were not balanced. Maybe both, but you have to have these jars balanced. A woman that did not have father will tend to look for the father in a romantic affair from a romantic partner, and they put too much pressure from a romantic partner to secrete that which only can come from your father. A man that did not have an emotional jar filled from his mother will over-exempt emotionally a romantic partner and try to pull out a substance that can only come out of mom. Some of us are looking for things in strange places because our two emotional jars were not met. I'm talking about the macho man who walks into a room, owns the room, and his voice fills the room with silence. His eyes scan the room for control. On the outside, he's a super freak, he's a super guy. On the inside, he's brittle. Brittle. Brittle men cannot bend. They break. Brittle men cannot bend. They break. And in breaking, they most oftentimes break others. Hurt people hurt other people. It's important that you don't bleed on other people. If you are hurt, you are not supposed to be dating. If your heart is broken and you are still dealing with issues in your life, you have no right to experiment relationally with another person trying to find out. That becomes a bloodbath. That becomes a blood relationship. That's a relationship that leaves blood footprints on that relationship. I'm talking about twisted boys make broken men. Mayday! Mayday! A generation under a curse. Where are the fathers? Where are the men? Where are the fathers? They die through suicide. 70% of men commit suicide more than women. Substance abuse, men. Incarcerations, men. Road rage, men. Because manhood is under attack. We no longer have mirrors that reflect proper masculine frequency that lead to masculine dynamic patterns. Twisted boys make broken men. His brittle core was formed by neglect, abandonment, shame, and a world that literally confused masculine emotions with suppression. Twisted boys make broken men. What kind of relationship did you have with your father? What does the word father mean to you? Do you have a man in your life that gives you the grace to fall apart without judging you? Do you have a platform? Do you have a phone booth? Clark Kent, do you have a phone booth that allows you to enter a natural man and come out a superman? Even Superman needs a phone booth to transform. There comes a time where maleness must transition to manhood. And what we have now is that we've got males stuck in transition because we didn't get the chance to evolve into men. The man with a brittle core is not beyond repair, but he is beyond pretending. You cannot wear the mask forever. And I make a clarion call to all men who want to change, you can. To all men that want to change, you can. Hear me, sir. You do not beat a woman by mistake. It's not a mistake, it's a choice. Don't say I hit her by mistake. It's not a mistake, it's a choice. And own your behavior. The first dimension to change, own your behavior. Now, I said the man with a brittle core is not beyond repair, but he is beyond pretending. And until he breaks the silence with truth, he will not change anything. Until he stops protecting his pain and starts confessing it, there is no transformation, there is no change, there is no evolution. And this is the tragedy that I found. Twisted boys make broken men. This is what I found. These brothers here who are brittle, these unsafe boys, these unhealed boys that become unsafe men, are so afraid of being broken that they don't even realize that they are already broken. They are so scared. They are so afraid of being broken that they don't realize that they are already broken. Twisted boys make broken men. There are many of you now, under the sound of my voice, who are dropping the ball on the stands of life because you're looking for your father to watch you perform. And you're dropping the ball in your marriage. You're dropping the ball with yourself. You are letting the family, the ancestral pattern down. I know that you've got a public success, but a private failure. Most men commit suicide. Why? Because when we are off stage, we have to deal with our own inner demons. And if you don't take a journey to park your car and say, I gotta deal with me, I got to deal with what I am, an inner child that was never healed, an inner child that was never seen, an inner child that was never felt, an inner child that was never felt. Feel me till my cup runs over. I'm your rated R Bishop. I would like to just speak to some men that you cannot carry, you have to get to a stage where you transform and you carry the family legacy on your shoulders. Carry that with you.